Łaskawo prosimo, which is welcome in Ukrainian, which is a word I've been saying a lot recently, unfortunately, because we've had so many Ukrainians coming into our county. Łaskawo prosimo, maybe it's something we should all learn off how to say for starters. I want to thank the Minister deeply, because from the get-go, he has turned on a sixpence and has created systems that were never demanded at such a scale, at such a short term, such a short amount of time ever before. And so far, so good. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have a lot more to do, but the response from yourself, your department, and the ordinary people of Ireland have been absolutely mind-blowing. And it gives you faith in most people. We have some very evil people, obviously, like Putin, but hopefully the good will outweigh the bad, and overall we will be victorious. In our own county, we've had mind-blowing generosity from everybody, particularly, I have to say, the Polish community in Clare were absolutely amazing. They led the way for all the rest of us who didn't know what to do or how we could help. So I have to have a big shout out to the Polish people, and many of my Polish friends have now got houses full of Ukrainians over in their own family homes in Poland. It's been amazing, and we have to have hope, and we have to focus on the amount of positivity there is in most ordinary people in this world, so we don't fall into the darkness around the few evil people that can fill our minds with negative thoughts and maybe lack of hope. I've had lots of phone calls and lots of conversations with people who are finding it overwhelming, but overall we must remember that the average human being is good and means well, and we have seen this globally in the outpouring from the ordinary people at every level of society, trying to do all we can to support these people in a time of crisis. Unfortunately, the Ukrainians that have got as far as Ireland are some of the luckier ones, which is astounding when you think about it, because everything is relative. Some are still back in their homes, fearing the worst and fighting for their countries, and Mother's Day is approaching, and the thought of the mothers of the Ukraine, and they haven't got their husbands, they haven't got their sons, they haven't got their fathers, because they've had to stay at home to fight for their lives. And I think as a country, we are part of the EU, and I know Minister Coveney has been good on this, but we have to be strong, and we have to do all we can to lead the EU. Where they're saying at the moment there is no more sanctions we can do. We have to beg our neighbours in Germany and France. We have to ask them to listen and to look at this properly and see if there's more we can do. And as a people, I think we can do our best, and one of the biggest things we can do in some ways is look at our complete fossil fuel addiction and do more to wean ourselves off that, because that seems to be the grasp that Putin has on the EU, which is why we haven't been stronger as an EU state. And I suppose in some ways he was hoping he would split us, and he's having some success in that at the moment. But I think this is a wartime. This is a wartime we're in now. It's not a world war, but it is a huge war that we have never seen the likes of, not since the 30s. I mean, if you look at 3 million, when was the last time we had 3 million people coming into Europe in that short level of time? And I think it's really important that the Cabinet in Ireland look at expediting every single thing we can to move away from our fossil fuel addiction. And, you know, we've had the solutions to weaning ourselves off fossil fuels through the Green Party and the Green Movement and environmental activism and environmental scientists for 30 or 40 years. We've always had the solutions. It's one of the main reasons I got involved in green politics, was to try and get those solutions manifested. You know, we've seen good public transport, we've seen electrification of houses, really good retrofitting schemes, but we need to prioritise it now, because at the moment people are stuck on their fossil fuel dependence, and we can't all go out and buy electric cars in the morning. But on a personal level, we have to drive our cars less. I know Eamon Ryan got shot down for saying that speed is the #1 use of fuel increases, but he was actually right. We have to take things on a personal level. The state, unfortunately, will not be able to bail everybody out. We won't be able to cover the quadruple costs of 10, 10, 20 for the farmers. We won't be able to cover the costs of the increase in petrol and diesel, and it's not going down anytime soon. So we have some personal responsibility to look at our behaviour, and this is behavioural change we were working towards anyway because of the climate emergency, but now we have an extra emergency thanks to Putin. We have a war emergency, and this is wartime, and if anybody talks to anybody who was alive during the war, they remember rationing, and we have to do that on a personal level, and unfortunately it has come to that. But I think that it's important that the Cabinet prioritise that now, because we need to get our offshore wind going, we need to get our public transport improved vastly, especially in rural areas, because currently we see there's a big discrepancy between choices between rural and urban people. You know, I have a friend who's got a Brompton, lovely fold-up bike, can go out of his house, cycle a kilometre, hop on the train, arrive in Dublin. That's just lovely. A lot of people don't have that choice. And a lot of our carbon emissions and our fossil fuel consumption is coming from the private car owner in rural areas. So there's a huge part to play. We can turn some of this negativity into a positive if we expedite all the things we need to do on climate action. It will give us cleaner air, it will save us money, and it will make us less dependent on evil people like Putin.
Senator. Next Senator is Senator Ronan Mullen.